Hello, my name is Min-se Uk. From now on, I am going to present about the Moxibustion's relief effect on muscle fatigue. Today, with the improvement of pet welfare, previously unexampled veterinary-oriented medicine is emerging. For me, majoring the veterinary medicine, this trend is interesting enough for me to have some attention to oriental medicine. So, I conducted some experiments about oriental medicine, which can complement the limitation of Western medicine, especially in the field of physical therapy. It is known that Moxibustion affects skeletal muscle disease. Therefore, I made the hypothesis Moxibustion relieves muscle fatigue, and would like to find out the Moxibustion's relieving effect on muscle fatigue. Experiments were designed to investigate the recovering effects of Moxibustion on the muscle fatigue, which causes muscle tissue damage, cell membrane damage, and various musculoskeletal disorders. To confirm the hypothesis, following tests were conducted. First, find out the median frequency difference between before and after exercise when there is no Moxibustion stimulus and Moxibustion stimulus. Second, find out the peak torque difference between before and after exercise when there is no Moxibustion stimulus and Moxibustion stimulus. Materials 강화 미니뜸 for making Moxibustion stimulus. age shear surface, electrode, and GUI for measuring EGM. Biotics System 3 for induced muscle fatigue. Selecting subject. Two conditions were demanded. First required condition is not having musculoskeletal disorders, and the second is not to smoking. As a result, 10 men aged 24 years on average were selected. The point of Moxibustion and fatigue-stimulated muscle. The point of Moxibustion is 음포혈, belong to the 족골음강경. 음포혈 is located in the concave between sartorius muscle and semimembranous muscle. Fatigue-stimulated muscle is rectus femoris muscle, located in cranial part of thigh. Way to measure muscle fatigue. GUI, produced by Noraxon Bio Research XP software, is used for measure EMG. Using the EMG, the peak torque, which means the amount of maximum muscle contraction, and median frequency of muscle contraction were analyzed. Procedure of experiment. Biodex System 3, made by Biodex Medical Incorporation, was used to measure maximal voluntary contraction and induce muscle fatigue. Since subjects have variable condition of muscle, different transition in EMG is resulted. To solve the problem, subjects conducted the experiment twice, under the condition of non-stimulus of Moxibustion and stimulus of Moxibustion with a 3-week break between experiment to experiment, which is sufficient time to recover from muscle fatigue. First, all subjects underwent maximal voluntary contraction 4 times with a 1-minute break. Second, before inducing muscle fatigue, to be accustomed to the exercise of biodex, extension and flexion was performed 3 times at a constant speed of 120 degrees per second, 10 times at each time, and 2 minutes of rest was maintained at each time. Third, 5 minutes later, to confirm the adapted status of subject to the biodex, maximal voluntary contraction was measured twice per minute. Fourth, 5 minutes later, to induce the same amount of muscle fatigue, The motion was continued until reaching to 55% of each subject's peak torque. Fifth, to check the condition of muscle, maximum voluntary contraction was measured immediately after inducing muscle fatigue. 6.1. Groups that were stimulated by Moxibustion maintained the stimulus of Moxibustion for 3 minutes. 6.2. Groups that were not stimulated by Moxibustion rested for 3 minutes. 7th, an additional 20 minutes of maximal voluntary contraction measurements were made at 2-minute intervals to determine the frequency difference of the EMG. Result. This is the data of median frequency as time passed. All subjects' median frequency was lowered as muscle fatigue occurred immediately after exercise, and median frequency was recovered as time elapsed. But stimulus group was completely recovered after about 8 minutes, and non-stimulus group was completely recovered after 13 minutes. The measured median frequency were normalized with an initial value of 1 and expressed as a percentile graph. This is the data of peak torque as time passed. Both groups showed similar peak torque value at 54.75 and 57.95, respectively, immediately after exercise. After 20 minutes, the stimulus group recovered to 86.08 on average. Otherwise, the non-stimulus group recovered to 64.43 on average. The difference between two groups was 21.65. The measured peak torque were normalized with initial value of 1 and expressed as a percentile graph. Discussion. When muscle fatigue is induced, median frequency and peak torque were decreased, and as time passed, decreased median frequency and peak torque were recovered, but the time costed to recovering is different between two groups. In the experiment of measuring median frequency, Moxibustion stimulus group is 5 minutes faster for reaching to pre-exercise status than non-stimulus group. And the other experiment, both groups could not reach it to pre-exercise status, but 20 minutes after inducing muscle fatigue, the value of Moxibustion stimulus group is 86.08, otherwise, the value of non-stimulus group was 71.57. Based on data, the hypothesis Moxibustion relieve muscle fatigue is experimentally proved. Although the efficacy of Moxibustion has not been scientifically evident, it has been formalized and developed through numerous clinical results and trial and error as it has been passed down for a very long time. I therefore support Korean traditional medicine, which have enormous amount of experimental results and actual clinical outcomes. So, I concluded that Moxibustion relieve muscle fatigue, which means Moxibustion could be used as a preventional method for musculoskeletal disease. With this research as a stepping stone, I would like to research about acupuncture, which could be used for not only preventional method but also for recovery.